Welcome back to the show today. We are talking about how to spot basketball intelligence. I'm sure you've heard people talk about different NBA players with high basketball IQ, but what does that actually look like out on the basketball court? I think sometimes people confuse court vision with basketball IQ. Players like Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Haliburton are lauded for their basketball IQ when they make a no-look pass or spot a guy from across the court. But you know what? Maybe this is basketball intelligence now that I think about it. Because not only do you have to see the entire court, you have to remember where all your teammates are. You also have to be able to predict the future to a degree. You have to know the game of basketball so well that you can predict where your teammates are going to go. You have to predict where the defense is going to go too. You have to know where you're going to pass the ball when you get the ball. You have to know where you're going to go after you pass the ball. So basketball intelligence involves clairvoyance, but it also involves telepathy. A smart basketball player is able to read his teammates' minds. He knows his teammates' tendencies. He knows where they like to shoot. He also needs to know how high his teammates can jump. So I glaze Jokic all the time. What am I supposed to do though? Make a video about basketball IQ and not include Jokic? I can't do it, man. I'm not gonna. So it seems that Jokic's teammates have to be hyper vigilant on offense because they never know when they're getting the ball. I think Jokic is one of the best pump fakers in the league. His pump fake looks just like his shot. He really gets a full extension on the thing, so the defender thinks he's gotta be releasing it. But at the same time, his teammates also need to be aware that he might not be shooting the ball. It might be going to them. Also, Jokic is really good at making the type of pass that resembles a shot. Like when the ball is leaving his hands, it looks like the type of motion where the ball would go toward the hoop, but then the ball goes to one of his teammates. So another player that has the ability to trigger defenders' impulses is LaMelo Ball. I think LaMelo Ball is the best player in the NBA at throwing a no-look pass. Or not even necessarily a no-look pass, but being able to pass the ball without the defenders knowing he passed it. He's able to pass the ball from really strange release points. Even when a defender is all up in his jock, he can pass the ball from behind his back with a lot of velocity too. LaMelo Ball can also pass the ball without telegraphing it. So the defense has less time to react and his teammate has more time to get his shot off. I mean, look at this stuff, man. It's beautiful. So as much as I don't like the guy, I have to admit Draymond Green is very intelligent, or basketball intelligent, and he pays attention to the rules. In the Olympics, a lot of NBA players forgot that you can tip the ball out of the cylinder, but Draymond read the rule book of FIBA. He's also really good at selling a fake dribble handoff. He runs DHOs for Steph the entire game, and then every once in a while, he'll catch the defense slipping and get right to the rack. In my opinion, he's sort of the opposite of Aaron Rodgers. I always felt like Aaron Rodgers had the least convincing fake handoffs. But then Draymond also has plays like this. At the end of the game, Draymond is inbounding the ball and the Warriors are up by 2, with 2 seconds left on the clock. Draymond throws the ball into the Pacers' backcourt. The Pacers have no timeouts, so they had to collect the ball and fire up a shot with 2 seconds left. It was a turnover, but it was probably the best move they could do. Now, I know this isn't exactly genius. It would have been tough for the Warriors to lose that game anyway. But I think the smartest thing that Draymond actually does is foul every play. His defense is way too aggressive the entire game, but the thing is, the refs aren't going to call a foul on every play. They're just not going to do it. He also moves on every screen, but the refs don't want to be stopping the game constantly. So Draymond spends the entire game trying to see how much contact he can get away with. The Seahawks secondary used to do this too. The refs couldn't call pass interference on the Legion of Boom for every single play, but they did it so often that the officials just got used to that level of contact. Pass interference is subjective. Wide receivers and cornerbacks are able to make some level of contact with each other. It takes a lot of intelligence to be able to manipulate officials to convince them what a foul is. NBA teams do not understand how important burning clock is. I know watching a player waste time is not great basketball and it's terribly boring. But if your team is up any amount of points, you should be happy if they're slowing the game down, because mathematically the team's probability of winning is going up. That becomes way more obvious at the end of games. So here's a clip of Trae Young letting the ball just slowly roll up the court. The game clock runs while the shot clock stays put. It doesn't start until Trae actually touches the ball. The Hawks are up 14 points. They don't need to score. The Sixers, on the other hand, do need to score, and the more time that comes off the clock, the more difficult it is for the Sixers to catch up. The best example of burning clock is Ja Morant against the Hornets a couple years ago. This was in the 3rd quarter. I don't even think the Hornets knew what was happening. Ja Morant burns 30 seconds off the clock while the Grizzlies are up 29 points. The Hornets are so undisciplined that they don't even realize that the Grizzlies are getting closer to a win without even moving a muscle. But then you also have Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole misunderstood the shot clock rules when he tried walking the dog down the court, because he thought the game clock didn't start until he touched the ball. He thought he was saving clock by not picking up the ball, but really he was giving his team less time to make up that 10-point deficit. But in Poole's defense, he does pick up the ball and immediately score once he realizes the error of his ways. No harm, no foul. We all make mistakes. Jason Kidd is one of the smartest basketball minds of all time. Actually, f it. He's the smartest basketball mind of all time. It's my channel, I can say whatever I want. One of my favorite examples of Jason Kidd's basketball intelligence is when he ran into Mike Woodson on the court. Head coach of the Atlanta Hawks, Mike Woodson, was standing on the court. He's not supposed to do that. He's a coach. That's the space for the player. Jason Kidd says he saw Mike Woodson out at the three-point line, so he raced to get over there so he could run into him. The Mavs were down, and they needed as many points as possible without running time off the clock. J. Kidd didn't even know what the penalty would be if he ran into Mike Woodson. But just as he expected, it was a technical foul on Woodson. So the Mavs got a free throw out of it. And the Mavs did come back and they beat the Hawks. Also, Chris Paul likes to exploit the rules of basketball. Remember when he called out Jordan Bell for having his shirt untucked when he subbed into the game?
To make this free throw. Well, Minnesota just got dinged for a delay of game.
He forced the refs to call a technical foul on the Timberwolves. Now, you may have known that already, but what you don't know is this actually won the game for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder made their technical free throw, and that put them within one of the Timberwolves. Cat makes his free throw, putting them up 2. Steven Adams hucks the ball down the court to Dennis Schroeder, and he ties the game with 1.1 second left on the clock. And then OKC goes on to win it in overtime. If you think about it, the real low IQ move was the fact that Karl Anthony Towns didn't try harder to miss that free throw. Do you know what a 2-for-1 in the NBA is? I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it before. Before the end of any quarter, a team will rush a possession so that the opposing team has a full shot clock and then they can get the ball back and have the last possession before the quarter ends. The idea being you get 2 possessions while the other team gets 1. LeBron hates the 2-for-1.
Tell me what kills you.
The 2-for-1 shot. Why am I just going to dribble down and shoot a 40-footer with 33 on the clock? Why not get a great look?
And I agree with him. I think it's an illusion of an advantage. If you think about it, you're sacrificing 1 full possession for 2 rushed possessions. You're forced to get a quick shot off so you can give the other team the ball back. Then you get the last possession, but you're forced to take a bad shot because you don't have a full clock. I think the 2-for-1 is like a lot of things in life. It's a nice goal to have, and if you achieve it, that's great. But if you try to force it because you have this dogmatic belief that that's the way things are supposed to be done, it's actually going to inhibit you from achieving your long-term goals. In the case of the NBA, winning a game. I also think players use the 2-for-1 to shoot deep threes early in the shot clock. It's the dumbest shot in the NBA, but it looks really cool when you do it, so players want an excuse to do it. There's really never a good reason to take one. Hey, but we could get a 2-for-1, I can fire up this terribly low percentage shot because I'm smart. So most low IQ moments in the NBA come from bad game management. Not knowing how much time is on the clock, not knowing how many fouls you have, not knowing how many timeouts you have, and in some cases, not knowing the score of the game. Let's talk about J.R. Smith real quick. In game 1 of the 2018 finals with 4.7 seconds left on the clock, George Hill bricks a free throw that would have put the Cavs up by 1. The Warriors also didn't have a timeout either. He pretty much could have won the game right there. But by the grace of God, J.R. Smith pulls down an offensive rebound. But instead of a putback, he dribbles the ball away from the hoop. The clock runs out with the game tied and the Warriors win in overtime. J.R. didn't know the score of the game. You can see him here mouthing the words to LeBron, "I thought we were up." But also after J.R. Smith starts dribbling, no one called a timeout on the Cavs. Here's LeBron's reaction when he realizes that they had a timeout to spare. So there are 3 mistakes that messed up this game for the Cavs. Hill missing a free throw, J.R. Smith dribbling away from the basket, and then Ty Lue not calling a timeout. A truly brutal way to start a finals. I think it would have been less demoralizing had the Cavs gotten blown out by 30 than losing this way. So I think most of basketball IQ is paying attention. And then secondarily, just knowing the rules so you can exploit them. Thank you for being here. And last week, you liked the hell out of the video, and it did well. I love you. There's a Patreon. Oh, like the video again, if you don't mind. There's a Patreon. It's $2 a month, and you get a weekly podcast every Saturday. Be good to your mom. Eat a corn dog.